Josias experience. You know that you know that you know. Know that you know that you know. You know that you know that you know. This is the Josias experience. I know that I know that I know that I know. I know that I know that I know that I know. I know that I know that I know that I know. This is the Josias experience. Yo sé que lo sé que lo sé. Yo sé que lo sé que lo sé.
Good morning.
Morning, Joe.
How are you, Karina?
Good morning, good morning.
What's good?
How are you guys?
We doing fantabulous. How are you?
Great. Cannot complain about my...
You part of the Champions Club?
I am part of the Champions Club.
Damn, you're a champion.
You all are, right? In our own way.
I'm part of the Champion Club too. I tell every morning I tell myself I am a champion.
Eat a hat that says champion.
Damn.
You though, a hat like you though. You're Joe the Cowboy.
That's right.
A hat that says champion.
That's right. Yeah, so Jan, how are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Yeah, Jan's calling in from the Philippines.
Yeah.
Yes. Ryan, how are you?
I'm doing well. Good morning. Buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
Wow. Español.
Sí, ¿hablas español?
Sí, a veces. Hoy sí, ¿por qué no? Mañana no. Mañana solamente inglés. Pero está bien.
Hey, we're international, baby. Let's go.
I do not conversational, but because I studied Spanish online, so I understand some of it, but cannot speak truly Spanish.
Nice. Okay, well, welcome to the Josias Experience. This is my podcast, and what we're gonna do today, spooky. It's not Friday the 13th anymore. However, we're gonna keep the spooky theme going. This is the brainstorming session. So I finally came up with an analogy for this. We have a cloud, and the cloud is raining ideas. It's ready. This is a brainstorming, like about to rain ideas down. The ecosystem contains a garden and a house in the middle. In the garden, we have emotion. All of our emotions are there. In the farm, we have vegetables, and then the farm represents the thoughts. The garden represents the emotions, and the house is where it all comes together. So that's the analogy for the brainstorming session. And then to get started, I'll start it up with a quick story. There was a guy named Jay. He walked through a place where his glasses got foggy. He wore glasses like the glasses were foggy. Welcome, Quennie.
Hello, Joe. How are you?
I'm great.
I was actually here since you'd started.
Whoa, okay. Well, welcome. Please greet yourselves. Ryan, this is Ryan, this is Karina, and then Mike is about to come in. Mike is in Colombia. It's my boy from back in the day. Boys in the day. Sitting sideways. Yeah. So okay, so we have the brainstorming session, right? Y'all get that? And now Jay with the glasses, they're foggy, and Jay represents vision. Jay is part of the 7-step framework that I want to present and brainstorm today, which starts at curiosity. So it's 7 steps to this framework. It's number 1 is curiosity. Number 2 is awareness. First you become curious, then you become aware. The 3rd step is intention. It's like when you finally what you want to do. What's up, Mikey? Haven't seen this guy in like 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. So and then the 4th step is vision. Is when you're able to see. Then the 5th step is clarity, when you can see, but now you can see the picture clearly. And then the 6th step is alignment. You can align yourself with where you want to go. And the 7th step is reflection. It's when you look back and you can reflect on everything, and you can plan to review, where you can review everything, and then you either keep going the same direction or you can change direction. So Mike, here's the framework. First, you have a cloud. This is a brainstorming session. So we have a cloud and it's raining down, and then in the ecosystem we have a garden, a farm, and a house in the middle. The garden represents the emotions, like Tony Robbins says. Like, you got to create a garden of beautiful emotions. So all the flowers are the emotions. The farm represents thoughts, positive and negative thoughts. And then the house represents where you process everything and you bring it all in. You like that? Ah! We like it. We like it. Okay. So thoughts. Let's get started. Get some thoughts in. Let's get some ideas in the rain cloud. I need you guys to be my clouds. Let's go.
What kind of thoughts are you looking for?
Whatever connects with that. This is a brainstorming session. I am not your master. This is just like,
Goals?
I am the facilitator, moderator. What comes to mind when we have the ecosystem with the emotions, the thoughts, the house we process everything in, and then the framework is basically a framework from curiosity to alignment and reflection, where we have something that we're a path we're heading towards. So I just want to connect those two ideas.
I'm curious, where did this idea come from?
This is last two weeks ago. The topic was emotional intelligence. Then that came to last week. The topic was mentalism. With mentalism, I created this framework on Friday because I wanted a way to have a more structure on the whole idea of mentalism, and we went through like Tony Robbins and the idea of patterns. I think Ryan was there, and now I want to work out this framework, but I want to keep working on this framework because I actually have a speech on Friday, and I want to start bringing in these ideas and put them in through the funnel so that on Saturday I have a topic and I have a polished topic that I'm going to talk about. So I'm using you guys for developing content.
Okay, basically, you are talking about a journey to self-awareness and emotional intelligence. Is that the one you're talking about? Or what is really the main focus in this one?
The main focus is to brainstorm the idea. What does it bring for you? So let's say for example, Jay has the vision, right? So close your eyes if you want and visualize an ideal day 1 year from now. Be specific. Where are you? Who's around you? And where are you going? That's vision, visualizing. You can visualize. Can you visualize an ideal day for you? What is that like?
How about you guys? Do you have any idea or ideas on this one?
Now, is this an ideal day that you would love to live, or an ideal day that you have normally?
Either one. This is open. Brainstorming means we're just gathering ideas and then we're gonna connect dots and create a picture. It's don't think that like you have to have a right answer for anything. It's just ideas. They're dots. Dots we connect with lines. Lines create a picture. And then once we have a picture, then we can color it. Put colors in it.
Oh man, you just shot fire out of my speakers. That was amazing what you just said. Like fireworks are in my bedroom right now. Thoughts. I have an ideal day, an idea of an ideal day. Take it or leave it, but an ideal day for me would be a day that feels incredibly easy. It's incredibly easy to feel good. So without look like for me, not expecting big things, being grateful for what comes in, having my goals as a compass, and remembering that the most powerful lessons that I learn are when I'm present in the moment. So for me, what that looked like is waking up and doing John Paul Quennie's breath work every other day. Simple, it's a fun challenge. I feel amazing, and it starts the day off. Then I can get my cup of coffee and focus on what matters. Do some feature casting, and these are all things that's like very easy for me to do. And when I'm interacting with people and somebody says something rude or something mean, I get to have a framework of questions I can ask myself either after the combo or during, like, where's this person at? What emotion are they experiencing? So my ego isn't taking place. It's just some ideas that came up,
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Like, so somebody needs a hug. Who needs a hug right now? Ryan, okay. Here you go.
Thank you. Everybody needs a hug all the time. We may not want one, but we all need some of that love at Josias.
Right.
So.
That's right. So, okay. So, I guess let me like clarify this a little more. So, this is a 7-step framework. I actually use this for sales, but it can be used for anything. Like, you're curious, you gotta arouse curiosity in the person. If you don't arouse curiosity, then the person won't even like be interested. Like, you're arousing interest. Morning, Malisha. What's up? First, you arouse curiosity. They gotta be kind of interested in what you gotta say. Then, it becomes awareness, which is like now they know you exist, but there's nothing else. They know you exist. I'm here. You're here. Boom. Third step, intention. Here's what I want. I'm gonna give you this. Fourth step. Now you get into vision. Okay. What is your vision? Like, where are you trying to get at? Like, what does it look like? Then clarity. Now you see where they're trying to get at, or where I'm trying to get at. And now it's becoming more clear. And then it becomes really clear. And then the next step is alignment. Now you're aligning with it or you're not. Are you aligned with the idea or not? You know, if I'm selling you a product, you know, like Karina sells coffee. Are you aligned with, you know, coffee and great coffee? Great. If not, don't get it. It's fine. You're not aligned. Let's move on. And the seventh step is reflection. You reflect back. Was this a good curiosity to pursue? Yes, no, maybe? Thoughts? What do you think?
I'm all about framework, and this is super simple, which I love. I'm feeling some things I can even add a Ryan version to it later today on alignment. But I love the vision. What does this look like for you? Like when talking to somebody else, but be so genuinely curious that they feel heard and feel like, holy cow, somebody actually cares, you know? Because that is what's going to build that rapport. And
whoa. Okay. So Malisha, just to explain like the idea, I don't know if you were here like last Friday. I think you were. So the brainstorming session, we have the framework of the cloud, and then we have a farm and a garden and a house. We're bringing everything together and we process everything on the house. I think, Karina, were you out partying last night again?
No, definitely not. I was working with a lot of people on the West Coast.
Oh, you were up late on the phone.
I was up so maybe like 2 a.m. because, you know, it's only like 9, 10 p.m. over there, you know, on the West Coast. So
no wonder, because that coffee hasn't kicked in for you.
yes, that's why my cup is here.
She's over there.
Getting just the clarity like on the framework is interesting because I feel like it's a lot about like perspective. Because a lot of people, when you talk to someone about, you know, maybe what it is you're trying to do or a passion that you have, most people start with it. I've never heard of starting, not never heard of, but I never thought to start with curiosity. Most people talk, you know, they talk about, you know, vision and clarity, and some people kind of just do it back. But when you start with like curiosity or awareness, I guess it kind of gives you more of a leg to stand on when you may be talking to somebody. Because if you don't know where the curiosity is, then you don't know where to provide clarity or where to like direct your vision.
You see that brain, Karina, is fabulous. Your brain is fabulous.
People's been watching me just process, you know, and just in thinking of just yesterday and the conversations that I had. Just self-reflecting, like, was I curious? How curious was I? How curious could I have been? Would that have been easier to provide clarity had I been more curious? So, like, I'm just kind of looking at this framework, kind of just self-reflecting of, like, you know, where do I lack? Where can I get better at? Where are my strengths? What are other strengths I can even leverage?
Yes, because if you, like, that's the thing, like, everybody, they say that they know what they're doing, but really, they're not really following any set thing, any set process. They're just really freestyling. And even when they say they kind of know what they're doing, maybe they do because that's what they've been doing and it's working for them. But they don't stop and reflect. And they don't have a framework to reflect on. Like most people don't have a framework to reflect on. But if you were to look at it again, everything starts with curiosity. You have a curiosity and interest in something. If you don't have it, then think about a cold call. Like, get on the phone with like a random stranger that doesn't know you. Like, who the fuck are you? You know, Malisha and I were in the political industry. Like you approach a stranger on the street. You know, I say, do you have something that may interest me, or what the fuck do you want? If you don't tell me quickly, get out of my face.
Like, what are you selling? What do you want?
Exactly. What do you want?
Bart is there like instantly.
Yeah.
Basically.
So this is a way, and the way I was thinking about it is, and we could just get into sales and this because I think we're pretty aligned in this way. Think about curiosity, like picking curiosity, like knocking on the door. It's like, what's that? Like, they're like, who's knocking on my door? Okay, I'm curious. The second step is awareness. Okay, there's somebody at the door. That's awareness. Like, that's how simple it is. And then the third step is intention. What do they want? Let me find out what they want. Then the fourth step is vision. Okay, now you're in conversation. Now they're telling you their vision. And then are we seeing the same picture? And then the fifth step is it clear? Are we clearly seeing the same picture? And then once we both see the right picture, the same picture, then can we align? Are we aligned? If we don't have that alignment, then there's no need to move forward. There's no need to continue the conversation. Have a good day. Adios. Bye. So what does that bring for you? Like, this can work, like we talk about in sales. This works in relationships. This works in this could work in your pursuits, hobbies. Like, it could work in a career. You start with a curiosity and then you explore it through the framework.
Yeah, and that's interesting because I mean, like, the way I see it, the way I've been seeing it, is everything is sales. Like, you know, a parent, if you're a mother, you're a daughter, because I feel like sales is real transfer. So, like, let's say you have, you know, you're a mother, you're a father. You're trying to get someone to see your perspective. You have to sell your perspective to somebody. Kind of just like a framework that can really apply. Any viewpoint, you're really just trying to get across. It's not necessarily pertaining to an industry, but
belief transfer. That's perfect analogy. And that's step 4 and 5.
Yeah, vision and clarity.
So, and then actually that's step 4, 5, and 6.
You need one of those things in the podcast that has like the ad-libs and you can get, you know, like stuff like that. You need to add that. You need to add that into your arsenal.
That's good. Like, my editor will hear that and he'll probably add it on it.
You gotta add like little buttons.
Yeah. So you
little drop the bombs and things like that.
You heard that, Mr. Editor? Add the bombs. Let's add the bombs in there. Let's go. All right. So let's go. Anybody from the Philippines? Like, what comes to you? Or write it in the chat if you're too shy. You know, like, sometimes, like, people from Asia, they're a little bit shy. So you can write in the chat. Let's go here and in the chat box. What is the theme? It is curiosity to alignment and reflection. What are you thinking, Malisha? Let me hear you.
I'm just thinking of, like, I remember when I did sales for pharmaceutical, they used to give us how do you deliver a message in 5 minutes, elevator pitch. You know, and how do you get someone to view your, I guess, point of view, right? That's like a perfect opportunity for you to give yourself a chance to say, hey, look, you know, this is what I have, this is what I'm offering, and delivering that message within 5 minutes. And it's like, shit, how do I deliver a message in 5 minutes and get them to see what I'm selling or what I'm, you know, get them to believe in what I'm trying to sell, right? I don't know. It's again, it has to do with your vision, something that you firmly believe in, and then just standing there and then just letting it out, you know?
Yeah, I feel like I'm straining you guys. Let's take a little break. It's like, I'm like
a million things going on. I tell you, my grandfather passed this morning, so it's just like, it's still sinking in.
Wow, rest in peace. Let's have a 10 seconds of silence. Wow. Tell us about him, you know, like in a way that could tie into the conversation maybe. If not, it's okay, but you know.
Of course, he was the best grandfather a girl could ask for. He would have made 99 years old next month.
Whoa.
And he celebrated last year 74 years of marriage with my grandmother. She'll be 95 next month on the 1st. And they were the perfect love story. So if you ever seen the movie The Notebook, that was them. And my grandparents were from Spain, and then they moved to New York, and you know, it's just an amazing relationship, something that was definitely an example to look up to. Yeah, it's just hard because I'm wondering how my grandmother's handling it, waiting for them to, you know, tell us when the funeral arrangements will be. And yeah, he was just a great, hardworking man, and yeah, I used to watch baseball with him. He loved the Yankees. And it's just one of those things that if you did watch The Notebook, The very last scene is when they both laid in bed together and they both passed at the same time. And I feel that my grandmother will shortly go right after him because, like I said, they might have not been perfect, in their relationship, but to me, in my eyes, growing up, they were an exceptional role model to look up to. So, yeah.
Yeah. There's no perfect anything, let alone a relationship. Like, it's crazy when people are like, and that's I think that's because my parents had a lot of ups and downs, and they had their issues, and there were times where they didn't talk to each other, and they were very toxic to each other, and it was true commitment. They got through it, and there is no perfection. It doesn't exist. It's just a matter of sticking together. Wow,
I think if I guess reference when you say vision, right? To me, in my eyes, they were the perfect couple. Even though, like you said, there's no such thing as perfect, because we all try to look for perfect in anything that we do. I know I have OCD, and I try to be a perfectionist at everything that I do, and it's not always going to be that way, but at least you try. So I guess my point is, when you say vision, they never showed. Back in the day, we were not, we were always told to sit down. Our parents' relationships and problems were unseen. At least in my bringing up, we didn't hear about our grandparents' problems, sorry. Everything was done, behind closed doors. If someone was struggling, it wasn't talked about. Maybe you might have seen, but you really didn't know, what was going on. And I grew up in a strict Catholic, Spanish Italian family, so
nice. I'm watching The Godfather of Harlem right now, and have you seen that? Have you seen it? Have you seen?
Boom! Where's that boom, Ryan?
Boom!
Or the mic drop. The mic drop.
Have you seen the show, The Godfather of Harlem? Oh my God, it's crazy. Have you seen it, Karina? Alright, so The Godfather of Harlem is about this gentleman called Bumpy Johnson. He brought this miracle product from Colombia, this white powdery substance that so many people use as a party starter.
I think we're catching what you're putting down.
The bumpy, that's why I call him Bumpy. But anyways, it's about his journey throughout his career as a provider of good times, and his dealings with the Italian mafia, because the Italians, they controlled the distribution and of all the products that were used for that reason. And it's so good.
Provider of good times. I'm gonna steal that tagline. I met this cowboy, and he gave me this idea of being a provider of good times.
That's right. Yo, I can see it in you, yo. Like you're like a G. Like you've graduated. You've definitely G by I mean a graduate. That's what I mean.
I'm gonna steal that one too.
Yeah.
There's so much for this cowboy.
Hey, what can I say? I'm a fountain of clear idea drops coming from the tableau of my mind's eye.
Where's that boom? Oh, I need a button.
I'm gonna do a Kanye on you. I'm Shakespeare in the flesh. I'm Walt Disney. Okay. So, by the way, let's just do a quick break. So Ryan's from the Tony Robbins world. That's where I know him. He's a friend of my friend Belinda. That's where I met him. You're part of the Bloom community. Then Karina, I met her. Are you in Toastmasters yet, or did you join or no?
Not yet, because this has probably been my only available Wednesday, and I don't even know how long. But as soon as I join, I want to be consistent.
True. Okay, so Karina, I met at Toastmasters. She was a guest, and she was radiating this energy then I just had to. I gave her my book, and then she was very gracious, and then we've kept in touch since then. It's been like what 3 months or so. And then Malisha, I know her from the political industry. We work together collecting signatures for like political initiatives and stuff. So you guys, feel free to mingle, say hi. Let's get to know each other. How are you? Unmute each other.
Was everybody like in Florida? Like, where's everybody from? I know we have.
Ryan, where you at, Ryan?
It's
I'm in Long Island.
Question out.
Ryan's in New York, and then Karina and Malisha, you're in Florida, and then
Florida.
we have
What part of New York, Ryan?
Long Island.
I grew up off the Long Island Sound in the Bronx.
There you go. There you go.
And now I reside in Florida, in Orlando.
Yeah, I'm gonna be down there this winter for a few weeks, maybe a month. We'll see.
I went back recently to visit my mom, and I was like, holy smokes, it changed so much. I'm glad I'm here. I've been here 5 years now. So, what part of Florida, Karina?
I'm like between like Orlando and Tampa. Like, I live in Orlando, but I also live in Tampa.
Okay. Okay.
But my family's originally from New York, right? I was actually supposed to be in New York this weekend.
What part?
Staying like Queens, kind of Long Island area.
Okay. Yeah, I went back recently. I was just like, where I grew up, it used to be like all Irish, Italian, very little Hispanic people, and I was like, oh my God, it's just a lot of Muslim now, and I'm like, whoa, it changed. Yeah, different world.
That's crazy. My father's from the Bronx. He grew up in the Bronx. So this is interesting. This is something that I like to gauge. You know, water seeks its own level. Like, we're all kind of like New Yorker-ish. I'm like second generation or like a first generation out of New York. You guys are all first generation from New York. But I did live in New York, and I actually have a crazy story. I actually stayed in Manhattan and the Bronx and Queens. And the story goes that I went to New Year's Eve party in 2014. I realized that I wanted to stay in New York because there's this phrase that goes, if you can make it, you can make it anywhere. So I said, okay, let me try to do this. So my friends kind of like, we had a hotel for like a few days, and then they left. So I found a colleague of mine that lived in Queens. So then I asked him if I could stay with him for a few days. And then those days became like 15, 20 days or something. And then we weren't getting along. So my cousin, she was getting like an apartment, a free apartment through DHS, like Department of Homeless Services. So I said, maybe I can get one. Oh, Ryan, were you here for this story the other day?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So I said, maybe I can get one. And they never gave it to me. However, this started my journey into the... Hold on, let's send this to voicemail. Started my journey through the homeless system in New York. I went through the Bellevue. You guys know the Bellevue building? I stayed there, and most days there was no hot water. It's crazy. It was middle of the winter. I learned that about fabrics. I didn't know this because I never seen snow in my life. But I remember I had like some loafers. And I remember walking through like one of the first or second day, I was walking through the streets in Manhattan, and then my feet were like blue because I had like thin socks and loafers. I had to stop at businesses to thaw out because it, like I probably could have lost my feet at that time. But anyways, I learned over time that there are certain fabrics that you can get, like cashmere and wool. You know, those are basic survival things that you guys already know. And then, so then from there, I went on this whole journey. So from Manhattan to Bellevue, then I stayed at a homeless shelter in the Bronx, and I forget the name of it. I think it's called the Annex. And then from there, I remember it was like 16 dudes in a room, all like bottom of the barrel people in New York City, all ex-convicts, like homeless dudes. I was sleeping in the same room with them. They're like schizos and like like whatever you're gonna say. I did that for about 3 months. And then I remember the moment that, and this is all in a book called Grab Tomorrow: Real Stories, Real People by Mike Abramowitz. So you can find that one on Amazon. All of the profits go to PB&J for Tampa. Mike has a nonprofit where he gives like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches to homeless people in Tampa. So, but anyways, the day that I decided to leave was a day where I was sitting in a waiting room in a clinic because they required the homeless guys to get like a hepatitis B shot, like a vaccine. And I was sitting there, and for like an hour or something, I was listening to a recording on the TV. Well, it was a TV. It was like a brainwashing thing where like it said three things. It said, number one, you should get this vaccine for like hepatitis B. The second thing it says, there is no proof that this is gonna do what it does. And the third thing it said is, you know, like get this vaccine or whatever. And I'm here listening to it. I'm like, this just makes no sense. Like, this is like propaganda. It's like, it doesn't make mental sense to me. It's just like, get this vaccine, maybe it'll work, maybe not. I'm like, why do I need this in my body? And that's when I say, I gotta get the fuck out of here. And I left the room. I called my dude, like my colleague that I was staying with, and I went to the homeless shelter, and I got my stuff. And then I called my dad, and I was like, I'm going home. I'm coming home, Daddy. He's like, Papi, I'm coming home.
Where's home?
Vero Beach, Florida. Yeah. And so then I got on a plane and came back, and that was the end of that journey. So my curiosity, I wasn't curious about that vaccine. I was like, nah, like, I don't want to take that. Go ahead, Malisha.
Yeah, it's just like the whole pushing of the COVID vaccine. You know, I'm not vaccinated, and I just didn't believe in doing that. I was a LPN for 8 years, and I seen it's a live virus, and I said, no way. You know, and that's something that they were pushing in New York a lot, you know. And as a result, my mom, my brothers, my sisters, they all got it, and they all having health issues to this day, and they're young, you know. So curiosity did not kill this cat. So
that's right.
I'll pass. Yeah, I'll pass.
Karina, what's up? You wanted to say something?
Yeah. That was not a story I was expecting. Like, a story had so many twists and turns that you couldn't have imagined, but I feel like you have I'm actually kind of like you. I'm not actually from New York, but a lot of people think that I might be because the way that I act, kind of the way that I talk, but I was actually born and raised here in Florida. I did live in New York for a little bit. Like, I went to school out there, so I lived there for like 4, almost 5 years. That's where I went to college. But I feel like you have such a different, like, the way you experience New York is a way that we will never, or have never experienced. So it's like your, I guess, reality was something totally different that, like, although we're in the same place, we experience completely different.
Yeah, I'm an island boy. I was born in Puerto Rico, you know? So I had no idea what snow was like. I've never seen snow in my life. I didn't know like there's like protocol for cold or like, you know, like cold weather. I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah. And even just like the personality of people in New York, even, you know, just at that time. You know, like when you go to PR, like everyone is so helpful. That's just the culture. Everyone is so helpful. Like there's so much care. Like you don't really see like home that much over there. Well, like it's not common like how it is here in the States, and especially in somewhere like New York. Like I don't know, when I really think about it, because I was there recently, you know, about a week ago with family. You don't really see that.
You want to know why? Well, because
I was like, I'm not sure what's gonna be on the other end of this answer.
See, you see, I just sparked curiosity. See, I sparked curiosity in you. The reason is, now that I make you aware of this, is a few things. Number one, the culture in Puerto Rico is more family oriented than you would have in New York. So families stay longer with each other, and usually they don't leave the house until they get married. And sometimes even when they get married, the dad builds them a house on top of their house. You know, maybe like in Philippines it's very similar too.
Yeah, it's you have to live next. I mean, in one compound. That's what we call that. So I think we do have the same culture. I'm not really sure about that.
Yeah, very similar. Yeah, it's
We're also have this close family ties that until now we're trying our best to become very independent, but mom and dad when it comes to their children, they are always their children. No, they look at us like a young child or something like that. So that's it.
yeah.
And maybe you can come and visit us here.
For sure. We're actually building an itinerary for this group to go visit different countries. Right now, for my Monday Zoom, we're planning on it's Mexico, and then we have Argentina because one of the dudes is from Argentina. So Philippines is definitely on the list now because I haven't been to Asia yet. So yeah. Okay.
You're
So
welcome here.
thank you.
Asia's beautiful. I went to Thailand
Thank
last
you.
year, and I wanted to stay. I wanted to stay. That's how beautiful.
Forever.
Yeah, forever. Because we did a week in Phuket, and then we did a week in Bangkok, and the culture, it's just beautiful. I mean, it's just everything that you said. We were taught, with my background, we were taught that when our elderly parents or grandparents, you were taught to take care of them.
Yeah.
We don't believe in putting our families in homes, and Sunday dinners were at its best. We used to have gatherings, and now that everyone's slowly getting older, those traditions are no longer there per se. We're our generation, my generation. I'm 51, and my children, I have 3 children, 30, 26, and my son will be 23 next month. I try to instill those values, Christmas, holidays, get-togethers. Make sure that you keep your family united, because it's difficult this day and age, it really is.
Yeah.
Especially when you grow old, of course, you need someone to be there with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Hmm.
But yes, Thailand, I would love to visit the Philippines. And like I said, the culture was just so beautiful. The people were so friendly, and the way they, took care of the elderly out there, it was just a beautiful thing to see.
This because Philippines is more like a Spanish. We are colonized by Spaniards, so that's the reason why we have this kind of culture. But then it starts to change. That's because different people, or especially some of our women over here, they got married to foreigners. So that's the reason why the cultures actually that we do have, it started to change. And maybe in the future, we no longer see but until now, we still value the close family ties. That's because it's really important for us. And we just pass by in this world. We only have a very short lifespan. So 70 years is actually your grandpa died at the age of 99, which is quite good. But normally, the lifespan of people right now, this is out of curiosity, Joe, it we live for 70 years, maximum 70 years or 80 years. So
Yeah.
we have to do our best.
Yeah, it's pretty.
to our lives.
It's very similar here. I think in the 90s, there's not many people that live like older than 80. Like that's very rare. It's usually like it's a combination of good genes. And there are countries that have really high life expectancy, like different parts of Japan, and
Yeah.
but however, yeah, that's not normal. That's
My grandfather would have been 99 next month, and I'm like, wow. And till this day, my aunt took care of them 24/7 around the clock. They didn't have caregivers. She was their caregiver, and right now they're going through a difficult time, as I mentioned. But we were taught that listen, if it's out of our hands, if it's something that God says, okay, we can no longer take care of them for a certain time or period, that the last thought on their mind is putting someone in a home, because the care quality is different. you know, and for her to, I was like, wow, 99 years old. My grandmother's going to be 97 July 1st. It's unheard of. My grandmother from my maternal side, she died at 80. So, you know, maybe the life expectancy is a little bit longer in my generation, but I don't know. You know, it remains to be seen.
It's not your generation. It's your lineage. Like your
Yeah.
genes. Like nobody, like you get it all the time. Like nobody thinks you're 50 when they meet you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. I was actually thinking she's around 30 plus.
Oh, I wish.
Yeah.
My oldest daughter just turned 30, and I just turned 51. So
You mu-
I'm
share
getting there.
your secret.
Soap and water. I don't use product on my face, you know.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. Actually, that's good.
Yeah.
So we better start doing it, Miss Karina, right? you also look
Oh,
pretty.
yeah, for sure. I'm taking notes.
Yeah, you look young. What are you in your 20s?
26.
Okay, so you're my daughter's age. Yeah.
But I
Awesome.
want to be 50, looking 30. So I'm. It starts now. You know, it starts now.
I'm trying. I feel a grace coming out.
No, it's the gray hair is a trend now. I was just talking to someone about that. Like, there are people my age dyeing their hair gray. So
Yeah.
It's in. It's in.
each his own.
Right?
Wow. Okay, so then the second thing, the first thing is the community aspect that we just talked about. The second thing is a lot of the poor people, they all live in like government housing, which they call it like the caseria they used to call it, and now they call it residenciales. Those people, a lot of those, there's like that's the hood, you know, in English terms.
I'm gonna change the name, and to me, like, it's the caseria. So you don't go to the colorful houses, like.
You go there if you want to get like the party substances that we were speaking about. You know?
Like for the party.
However, see the life expectancy in the hood in Puerto Rico is very low. You know, it's just like the hood in New York or Chicago or whatever. It's very similar where life expectancy is low because you have like the bichote they call them, like is the head or like the kingpin or like the boss. They don't have a high expectancy either because that life, like, you know, they're always, you know, it's a power struggle, and to them it's not a power struggle for betterment, it's a power struggle, but for them they're just surviving. That's the mindset. Like, I gotta survive, and to survive I gotta do all these things. So that's
So their lifespan is short because of their surrounding, not because of, you know, natural things that's happening around them.
both. I think both.
Because wars and everything when it comes to cartel and all is not natural for us. I mean, that is actually one of the factors that decreases the lifespan of people. Okay, those, like for example, wars. So that's the thing. Food that we normally take shortens the life of many people.
That's true.
Nowadays,
Style.
we do have, yes, that's the lifestyle style of them. And today, at a very young age, like 15, 16, many young children right now are teenage, they are actually experiencing chronic kidney diseases. So that is a very bad thing that is happening right now in our surrounding.
Yep,
So
and
we
that's
are living different.
Yeah.
I mean, we're living miles apart or whatever.
yeah.
You know, people actually have experienced the same thing all over the world.
Yeah, that's actually I was listening to a doctor talk about something like this, and it's the one of the major causes of like illnesses is like the corn oils, like, and then when you have like a poorer like community, they all use corn oils and processed food. So like you're bathing your food in these oils, you know, like they can't afford olive oil or like coconut oil. They buy the cheapest oil they can, and then they bathe their food in this thing. And then what does this do? Like, it just deteriorates you from the inside out.
Right,
You know.
because they are just buying which are not healthy. So if they try to balance it, it's not because of the corn oil. I think it's because of the habit. Some people are really fond of eating pizzas, pizzas today, tomorrow pizza, burgers, or the third day it's fried chicken. But that's the reason why Japanese people lives longer. Because I don't know, Malisha, you already went to Thailand, and Thailand actually their food is a combination mostly of meat and vegetables, right? So if you live in some Asian countries, some people lives actually for more than 100 years. That's because of their lifestyle.
Yeah,
And they are very particular when it comes to the food that they eat.
Nice. What were you gonna say, Malisha?
It's so true that you see a lot of vegetables, fresh fruit, a lot of fresh vegetables out in Thailand. It's funny because I went probably like 2 years ago to Brazil, and they didn't have vegetables there. My husband was like, "Where's all the vegetables?" Everything was very salty, no vegetables. And that's something that we do and we add to our daily meals. We always have a vegetable with our food, and he loves to cook, I love to cook. So it's funny you say like processed foods, and to think that certain cereals back when we were kids, they're now toxic. You don't read the labels. People don't read the labels anymore. What all the hormones they're pumping into young girls and boys. We just live in crazy times, just crazy times.
Okay, so I know that okay, Ryan's gotta go. Okay, so we're in the last we're venturing into the last part of the call here, the last part of the Zoom, and I want to tie it all back in together. What I like to do is this process of going vague and then going specific. So I went vague with these abstract concepts that we were talking about, and then from vague we went specific with stories and real facts and things that happen in real life. Like that's concrete. And then we have like a ghast, like a ghast, the sound that a ghast makes. The ghast. That's the sound that a ghast makes.
What are you talking about?
I don't know if I've ever heard that, guys.
Like, what the heck? Here we go with the sound effects. There's like a, or I'm waiting for it to start putting like a yeehaw because it's cowboy hat. I mean, drop the mic and boom. He's coming out with all these sound effects. What the heck? Oh my god.
You don't know about the gas sound?
I didn't know gas made a sound.
No.
Is it like from a human person? Because that's a different type of gas. I'm not really sure.
No, it's a ghast, like G-A-S-T, ghast.
Oh, gas. I heard like G-A-S. Like
Me
gas.
too. That's what I said.
But you know about the ghast though? The ghast.
Yeah, I know. You still lost me.
You don't know, but you know Malisha because she got little kids, right?
Not anymore, but yes.
Yeah. What about Skibbity? You know the Skibbity? Yeah, you know about the Skibbity? Karina, you know about the Skibbity?
No, you're gonna have to teach me. I'm lost here.
Yo, I can teach you about Skibbity. Malisha, like tell her about Skibbity. She Yo, Skibbity, they call it brain rot, right? Like I have this girlfriend of mine, she's like 20, and like she's always like whenever I bring stuff like this, like she hates it because she's like smart. And like this like brain rot type stuff. Like brain rot, that verbiage. So like that. So it's just like there's like this trend on TikTok where like kids make Skibbity toilets where like they take their toilets and they decorate them with like make them into a lizard or a horse, and then they call it a Skibbity toilet, and it comes from this song called Skibbity. Like you know about Skibbity, Malisha?
Yeah, the whole decorating of kids and toilets and
Yeah.
yeah,
That's crazy.
right? I'm not thinking these words are just like
Yeah. And it's like
I had to answer quick text.
no worries. It's like a vibe though. It's like a vibe. Like Skibbity, it's like a vibe where it's like Skibbity. Like there's a song. Your homework is whenever you're finished this Zoom, go YouTube Skibbity. The Skibbity. But anyways, let's
Let's go back to the gas.
Let's go back to the cast. Okay. Brainstorming session. Farm, garden, house. The emotions are the laughter we experience, the laughter, the joy, the curiosity, the awareness. Those are emotions. The thoughts. What were the thoughts from today? Come on, help me out here. What were the thoughts for today? What were the thoughts the concepts that we spoke about?
Like framework. We talked about framework.
Yep.
Experiences, I guess. Ad-libs.
Yes. So we have the emotional garden and the thought farm, the thinking farm, and the animals and vegetables, and then we bring it all into a house. This is where we process it. In the house, what do we do in the house? We take the vegetables, and then we can do one of three things. We can consume, we can trade, and we can give away. So out of these things that we brought in the house, which is our mind, what are we gonna consume? What are we gonna trade? And what are we gonna give away?
You forgot about the foundation,
Tell me more.
where the house is going to be built.
Well, the house is already built, but tell me more.
Well, you always got to start with a good foundation, right? You know, if you're a farmer, you want to, plant, the best vegetables, the best fruit that you're going to consume, right? And your vision is to see this off to something great, right? Best quality food, because this is something that you can consume. And then the framework you build around it. How is that going to benefit you? How is that going to benefit others? And I think it all starts with not only the foundation, but your vision. Where do you want to see this down the line?
Yeah, and I had a thought as, we're talking about like the food and the culture and the habit. I genuinely feel like a mentality can kill you long before your body. So the reason why people in certain areas, you may live in the same place, but people that live in certain areas may have not as long a life expectancy is because of a mentality. And that's really that's something that could also be, very foundational. The way that you think dictates, I feel it really dictates how long that you live. Because if you're sick when you're not sick, you could die a lot sooner. As you guys are talking about that.
I agree, because I feel like I've always been a protector of mental state, mental awareness, something that, people go to work, and I encourage, my kids, the next generation. You don't have to. I have a college degree. I have 2 at that. And I did the 9-to-5 corporate world. I did nursing. I had a few careers. I am older. So that mental space, it's just don't let someone interrupt that ever. I'll always take time. For me, this is my peace of mind. It breaks the monotony of my world. As Josias said, I know him from the political industry. I also work for a very demanding man. And, again, it breaks the monotony up. I have free will, but work is stressful, and I try not to let that get to me. And I remember the self-care and remembering, okay, if I keep thinking, oh my God, I'm going to be stressed, I got to do this, I got to do that, and constantly on that frame of mind, it'll make you sick eventually, And, Josias, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but when I met Josias, he was like, wow, because I was running a political office. My guys were out on the field collecting signatures, and he was like, I've never met a coordinator that cared so much. Do you remember saying that to me? He was like, wow, you're so freaking different. And I'm like, okay, what do you mean? I just grew up with a lot of love, and I care. I used to be, a yes person, and I stopped doing that. I was in my 20s, and I didn't want to deal with that anymore, So him saying that, I was just like, I just happen to care about people. I care about, okay, I know some people at the DMV, they're nasty, especially in New York, they're really nasty, and I always think now that I'm older, I'm like, maybe something went wrong in their day. Maybe something happened in their life that they're just very miserable, and I try to say, hey, I see somebody in the elevator. Hey, good morning. Have a great day. It makes me feel good about myself, because you know what? That person might be thinking of suicide at the end of the day. They might have a loss. They might have had a bad day. And here I am. I want to be nasty. And it doesn't work for me. It's I used to be that type of person that used to attack, and be very defensive. Now I'm like, you know what? Life is too short. Make the best of it. And if you can make somebody smile at the end of the day, do it, don't be nasty to that customer service person. You know, again, you don't know what they can do at the end of your call.
Customer service. Customer service person. Oh my God. Customer service has become a gaslighting machine. It's a black hole of nothingness. A black hole. I was thinking about this earlier. It's the other day, and I think the customer service needs innovation at this point. Where like, but it's not only like tech companies are bad, the government is even worse. So like, imagine trying to call the IRS, like you can't get through anybody, like you know what I'm saying, like trying to call Amazon, like any other.
Bring up that comment again. What do you want?
What? Yeah, I mean, like.
What do you need?
No, but see, you're right, and also like you're wrong at the same time, because like those people, like they're super nice, like most of them are, but however they have no authority or no knowledge of anything. They have a list of 10 things, then responses that they give you to gaslight you, and then if your question doesn't fall into their little script, then they'll just like, I'm sorry, I can't help you. And then you ask to get forwarded to the next person, and then they connect you to they give you a number, you call in the other phone, they can't help you either. And then they give you another number and they can't help you either. It's just
I did that recently. I freaking flipped out because I just wanted the answer, and she goes, okay, you're on a recorded line, I have to 1 through 10, and I'm like, shit, do I want to hear this? I don't want to hear this right now. And I just barked at her. And then at the end of the call, she happened to be one of those people that actually helped me, and I didn't have to go be transferred to 20 different people. And I said, you know, at the end of the call, I said, I do apologize. It's not your fault. This happened. You know, have a great day. And, you know, I'm sorry. Sincere apology. Because I was being a bitch. I really was. Because I wanted to answer. I wanted it now. And sometimes when I don't get my way, you know, get nasty and throw a temper tantrum, you know, 51-year-old temper tantrum. Start barking. And she was really helpful, you know, and I felt so bad. And I was like, let me just say I'm sorry. Suck it up, buttercup.
Man, like, Karina, do you get like that sometimes? And you go like, woo!
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's human nature.
You look like the type.
I am reformed. The first step is admitting you have a problem.
Right. I think we all are, right? Jeez.
No, I feel like I definitely, or I would more so be like the type of person that maybe wouldn't bark. I would hear what you say and still do nothing about it. You know,
one ear out the other.
Yeah. You knew what was going through my ears, and you knew what was going out too. It was very obvious about it going out of my other ear.
Damn.
Oh, but it's just funny you said, because I was just having a conversation just with like people I work in, like my inner circle and things like that, and reading a book right now. I'm sure you guys have heard of it, like How to Win Friends. It's really like, it's such a timeless book. Yeah, it was written in the 80s. I feel like it's a lost art of like now, like this generation, because like they grew up so disconnected. It's crazy. If you're not, like, you'll never get better.
I feel you mentioned a key word, disconnected. It's huge. Huge. There's a huge disconnection in any relationship. You know, you just have to have that, or find that happy medium, you know?
I feel like this topic alone could lead us into a whole
I mean, right? Another whole hour.
Yeah, so
a whole another hour, but
so let's tie this back into the framework. Like, curiosity starts with curiosity, and then we go into awareness. And let me just write it here. And what I want to do, like, to end this is I want to reflect on how we can take the conversation and what is sparked in us, and how we can guide it through this framework. Curiosity, awareness, then we have intention.
So here's my curiosity question for you guys.
Go
What
ahead.
made you guys get into this type of framework?
I know, like, Josias kind of brought up the framework, but you were on at like the very, very beginning of the call, but it was very like.
Yeah, I missed the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's okay. It was very silent those first 10 minutes.
Oh.
Because I feel like we were all trying to like process what it is, you know, what the framework actually was. And once we actually had time to think about it.
That's interesting feedback. Okay, I want feedback then for you. Because, okay, so for me, this makes complete sense now, but when I first started to develop it, it didn't. So I want to know like how I can improve this, because if I'm gonna give a speech about this, I don't want people to be lost in the first, because the speech is only like 7 to 10 minutes. So like what would, like, when did it start? When did it start? When did you start seeing the vision of it? And what made it like really complicated in the beginning and really hard to understand?
I think it was how maybe like abstract when you kind of like so when I had asked like where did this kind of come from, understanding the background a little bit, that helped. And then when you have gone like broken down like the framework again, it kind of led me to think like maybe talking about the framework and then talking about, because the framework is what allowed me all just where the
Okay, so then, because you were mentioning that you were like tying it back into the conversations that you had yesterday, so tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so like I'm kind of in a space where like affiliate marketing, like I'm working with other leaders and help grow things like that. So a lot of my conversations kind of, I guess, is really just about getting clarity, getting vision, like helping people get to like wherever it is they're trying to go. But in order for me to do that, I have to understand them, understand their situation. I have to understand like where they're at in life, and like how I can help, if at all, and how what we're doing is even helpful to them. So I had looked at the framework and just like, okay, self-reflect. And it's anytime that we hop on, like I always come on with the intention of like, how can I learn? How can I take something to apply to someone else? And that's just whenever I come into spaces and conversations like this, like that's where can I learn and like where can I grow?
I have a question for you. When did you have your like aha moment, like on what you wanted to do and this is what you wanted to, I guess, develop?
Yeah. Man, that's a great question. I feel like it was a series. Like it wasn't necessarily like one moment. I feel like it was, I had done a whole bunch of things that didn't work, which allowed me to figure out what I did want. I've been in this space now about like 5 started when I was in college. But when I was in college, again, I figured like I went to school for marketing and finance. I literally just looked up like best careers, and like that's just where I ended up. I grew up playing sports, was what got me to school, but I knew like I wasn't gonna continue to play sports, but I got a scholarship. I only ever thought like I've always liked marketing. I think I've always maybe like the aspect of creativity. So that's why I kind of tailored to marketing and sounds really great on paper. But I had different internships from like the time I was 18 to like the time I got internships. I had jobs. And I realized then I realized like the corporate world of marketing and finance. Like how can I apply finance to my personal finances now?
Where's that boom sound?
What sport did you get a scholarship for?
I love it.
You a baller? No wonder. See, that's the vibe I was perceiving from you this whole time. You got that baller
retired,
vibe.
but yeah.
You retired. Okay.
But yeah, so like I did a whole bunch of different internships, and it's crazy. Like a lot of what I did in those internships, I feel like helped shape me, all day. But I was like overworked and underpaid, and I saw the person that I was interning under. They were so unhappy with their life. Like they would come to me and complain the other day, and I'm like, dang, I'm trying to be in your position, you're complaining to me. I had to find something. And then kind of someone introduced me to entrepreneurship and other industries, and literally how can I take what I was learning in school and apply it to like an actual business. So my junior year, that's when I not only was I going to school for business, I actually had a business to apply what I was learning. Did well, excelled. I graduated great. But I also lacked just a solid foundation. My mentality was wrong. That's why, I lost it all. I lost it all in a very quick amount of time, and that's when it made me self-reflect on my mentality, the way that it made me self-reflect a lot, just in my communication, more so like myself. And that's kind of led me deeper down self-improvement journey. And then from there, I got into different industries. I stepped out, did different things, but I came back, and now like the reason that I started was very different than the reason why I'm still here. The reason that I started was simply because I was curious. That is the whole reason that I started. The reason why I'm still here is now the alignment. As a result of this, like I love being here. I love being a community environment that's positive, that people can like come to, where they know that we're into, and their energy not sucked out. A lot of times we're only in environment, our energy is sucked out. There's nobody that's actually like pouring as a result of it. You grow and follow. And the avenues and lanes that I do it is a couple, different ways. Starting a podcast soon is, a whole bunch of different things. Kind of the main thing right now because it's an economy equalizer. So my hands get together a cup of coffee. So kind of just to tie in, like, why I'm here, is because I'm creating something that's
deep. I am, and that's why I also connected with Josias, because I did a book, or I have a published book, I should say. It came out last year. It's called A Path to Resilience and Independence. It's my story of, how I got married young, and I ended up in a domestic situation. And I journaled the entire time until I said, you know what? And I remember my mom telling me this. I was driving to our summer home in the Poconos, and she said, Malisha, you'll know. God will give you a sign. And that just was my push. And I also have a website called boldcoffeetalk.com. So it's very relative. And being in this group, it's been great, You learn the things that you want, what you don't want, what no longer serves as a purpose to you, and that's something I think that we're all trying to build, For me, it's been in the works, and it's been successful to this point, thank goodness. But, joining different podcasts, it's been amazing, seeing how everyone's journey unfolds.
It's incredible to journal.
Oh God, it was a nightmare. If you can read it for free on Kindle. If you want to take a peek and see what it's about, it's called The Path to Resilience and Independence. It's my story. One incident just changed I'm not even gonna say change. It rocked my world. And it was scary. And I had 3 little ones where Mo can't do it with 1 child. I did it with 3. I put 3 children through college, and they're all doing well, thank God. I had no support. I didn't go asking for child support. I said, you know what, if I'm done, I'm done, and I'm not looking back, and that's my thing. I speak out to, different avenues of women, who are suffering through and they don't know how to get out, So, and that's my journey. That's what I'm doing. I speak at shelters and I present my book. Like I said, you can read it for free, yeah, that's my story.
That's cool. I think my sister she's a social worker. Maybe I connected with her. She does, she actually works at a women's battered women's shelter. So that could be.
Wonderful. I have books that I would love to donate to, my book, my story, it's about the resilience, that you learn, at that point, I just lost myself, and now I am here, I'm successful, thank God, I'm happily married on my 2nd marriage. My children are grown and beautiful. They're, getting their lives together, and, it wasn't easy, but I'm alive to tell the story, and that's exactly what I did.
Wow, I'm trying to find a way to tie this back into the framework.
We're like, oh my God, we're trying to
tie it back in, and then we like go on,
another tangent, right?
Yeah, it's like what?
It's amazing, right?
You created too many dots.
Yeah.
Damn. How could?
Sometimes you keep thinking, you're like, wait, how do I tie it in?
Yeah, it's
We all have visions, right?
It's I think just like.
I was curious, I wish everybody, still had stayed on because, I think it's pivotal, where everyone comes from and, how did their journey start, what I went to college for didn't even apply to what I do now, you know what I mean? So it's like, okay, yeah, I have a degree too. All right. I heard a sound effect.
Damn, so, okay, there's no way to tie it back in. So I think this conversation, the topic, the theme will be off the rails, and then I think the only way to close this would be to just, it's like in my story, like at the end of the story, like I said, fuck this, like I'm leaving, that's the end, like it's like I'm not taking this vaccine.
Later. Into the universe and you shall receive. What you put out is what you get back.
Yeah. So now a little bit of feedback from you guys. Because like I felt like the feeling is different today. It was very superficial throughout the call because I try to jam this this framework through your throats, and it really didn't resonate as well as I hoped it would. And but then when I did the mentalism and the emotional damage, that really resonated, and I feel like the feeling and the vibe was totally different. So like, you know, like, what do you think about that? Like, cause I'm just trying to get a feel for, you know, where to go for this for Friday and for next week. Like, what, how did I lack depth, you know, and bringing this to a point to where, like, you know, because there was a little bit of, you know, butterflies at the end, you know, where like Karina shared her story and where you shared your story, but throughout the call it was pretty dry. I felt that's the way I felt about it. So what do you guys think, or how do you feel about that? Or maybe you didn't have the same feeling, you know, it's different perspective. So I just want to know your feedback from today.
I think we all have different perspectives. I mean, that's the norm, right? I guess specifically saying maybe it was the framework. I have no idea. You know, I think we all went out on a different tangent, and I feel like if you throw out something generic instead of tying it to something specific, maybe that might do something. It's more conducive. Friday's call was great because, you know, we had, you know, topics everyone shared. Fear, you know, fear of commitment, fear of my experience drowning, you know, fear of moving out of your parents' home, as an example, you know, death. There's so many different topics. There's so many ways that you could spin off of this. I don't think you did anything wrong or anything. Maybe some people are a little less talkative and shy. I think that's the problem. Like, okay, what if I say something stupid? Well, somebody, you know, and I always say there's never a stupid question, you know. Raise your hand, just spit it out. And if you get feedback, great. If you don't, you know, I think somebody will catch it.
I think I got it when you were talking. It came to me, and because this is a very cerebral topic and framework. And then whereas like 2 weeks ago it was very emotional, and then last week it was also emotional. We talked about, it was mentalism, but really we spoke about pattern and about negative and positive patterns, which is emotional when you're thinking about that. And we even lost Ryan. Ryan was so like he was so like caught on like the last week, you know. So yeah, so I think the feedback I got from this was to keep it emotionally centered and not trying to go into too tall of a headspace on the frameworks and stuff.
Honestly, if you think about it, it's all about, as I mentioned to Karina, I think it's all about personal growth, right? Personal improvement. You know, where do you see yourself? I'm going to throw it out there, 5 years from now, 2 years from now, you know. I was taught years ago when I was in digital marketing, you know, write a letter to yourself and say, what do I plan to accomplish myself 6 months, a year from now? And then go back to that letter, you know, goes back to journaling, you know, where do I see myself? What do I want to accomplish? You know, we've all had losses in our life that brought us here today, you know, things that we once accepted and no longer accept, and just go from there, build from there. Am I right, wrong? I don't know. Help.
But I do have to go like a little bit after the meeting a little bit, but I think just the way that you do your podcast is so unique because it's almost like you like throw mud on the wall and see what sticks. Some people that might like stick and understand a conversation, who don't. And I feel like that's also what makes the podcast, like, you know, just what makes getting on here every week. So no, I'm pretty sure everyone can agree they can get on here and nobody knows what to expect. But that's true. That's what's fun about it. You know, like you have no idea. Talk to you might no idea, you know, what might come out of your own mouth. But I feel like maybe today, like it was so like, I don't want to say theoretical, but to what you were saying on like the personal development piece, like it was so vast. There might have been some people that just couldn't grasp how vast it was, but maybe like your other subjects saying, so maybe you have done like the frame, grasping all the concepts at once could be like really overwhelming. That's why I had like in the beginning, like I had to really sit down and like really think and like self-reflect. It's really in the morning to be thinking is hard. You know, like I hadn't even finished my coffee yet, you know, like I was still, now that my coffee is I'm here now, you know, my brain is working.
We didn't even have breakfast yet.
Yeah, I haven't even had breakfast yet. I didn't even finish my coffee, and I was just thinking hard. I still think it was a great conversation. Like, is that what's
I do
up?
as well.
Yeah.
Great conversation.
Okay. All right.
And we have a great group of people, my opinion.
Every time I've come, like I've met so many, and I definitely want to, things like that.
Yeah. I guess I'll drop mine in the chat.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. Drop your stuff down, and you guys can connect. And then to finish, one word or one sentence that would define this conversation for you. To bring it all in. Yeah, it's not that hard. Like you're thinking hard again, Karina. Why are you thinking so hard?
This is actually just what I do. Like it's been tough.
Yeah. So get
Oh, it's been great. Yeah, I think maybe you should do also like after we hang up, maybe just jot down bullet points, of different topics, and that's the same thing like how Karina said, you throw mud on the wall and see what sticks, and I was taught the same thing. Bounce a ball and see if it sticks, throw out a bunch of topics and keep going until that one thing sticks, and topics are always, we could get into so many different topics. It's like so many things going on,
Yep, I know.
It's that headspace,
Headspace, that's your word, Malisha, headspace. And that's
Headspace.
where Karina's at, like headspace, she's thinking so hard. she's So, all right. So I think for me, it would be this podcast brought to you by. Go ahead and get this up.
I need to get you a box of coffee.
That's right. I sent you my address, so send me a care package. And okay, so thank you. I guess let's if you can close your eyes real quick, let's end this like in a solemn way, because I feel like we were in this space today with a lot of headiness, a lot of thinking, a lot of hard thinking. So let's relax our mind and let's think about a color that is opaque, foggy, black, gray, and cancel out all of the mental pictures in your mind and just take a deep breath and let's relax into your day, ease into your day. And let the curiosity spark you throughout the rest of your day, and just ease into the projects that you have, and just know that everything will work out exactly as it needs to work out. Boom!
Yeah, you need to get those. You gotta get those somehow, some way.
Yeah, that boom.
We need a soundboard. That's what we need. Yeah. So, anybody with a soundboard? All right. Well, all right, cool. So you wrote down Malisha's information, Karina?
Yeah. I was going about to follow you now.
Perfect. Okay, cool. Well, I'll see you guys on the next one.
This is the Josias experience. Yo sé que lo sé, que lo sé. 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 Yo sé que lo sé, que lo sé.
Tú sabes que sabe que sabe que sabe. Sabe que sabe que sabe que sabe que sabe que sabe que sé que yo sé que tú sabes. Vamos a la chamba, la duda no cabe. Puertas de éxito tengo la llave. Premios de mérito me los gané. Carta de débito ya la llené. Carta de crédito negra, a los millones de dólares. Menudo colaré. En un jet de mi barco yo volaré. Esta semana yo soñaré. En mi cama, en mi casa decorada de arte lujosa en toda la pared. Guardia armado en mi torre Babel. En mi juego he ganado el premio Nobel. Ya los odiosos no pueden joder.
You know that you know that you know. Know that you know that you know. You know that you know that you know. This is the Josias experience. I know that I know that I know that I know. I know that I know that I know that I know. I know that I know that I know that I know. This is the Josias experience.
Yo sé que lo sé que lo sé. Yo sé que lo sé.